Hey guys, welcome. This video is going to be part 3 of our human rights series. In this screencast, I'm going to talk about the options. There are 4 main options that our country thinks about doing when it comes to human rights. These are the options that the top experts who are advising the president and Congress and our military, these are kind of the options they put out there. Of course, some people might like a mix of them, or there might be some other 5th or 6th options, but these are 4 of the main options. Now, for some of you, when you think about human rights, you might just think, oh, this is a good idea. We should be promoting human rights as much as we can. And that's true for a lot of times, but there are some reasons to maybe kind of think twice about how you do things, and maybe decide to not do things. So these 4 options, a couple of the options are going to be kind of hesitant to do things when it comes to human rights. So what are the reasons people are hesitant? Well, a couple of the big ones are, number one, some people don't like giving a lot of power to the United Nations or to these big international human rights groups. Like, we like being in charge of our own country and being in charge of our own people, and we don't want the UN telling us what to do about human rights or other groups telling us what to do. So that's one thing. Another thing is, should we be telling other countries how to run their countries? If their education system isn't good, should we be telling them that they have to be educating girls more? Or if their healthcare system isn't good, should we be telling them how to run their healthcare system? So sometimes there's questions about, when is it okay to tell other countries what to do? And the final thing is, sometimes interfering in other countries backfires on you. So if you go, like when we invaded Iraq in 2003, some people think that we went in because they had a tyrant, a dictator, and he was abusing his own people, and we were going to help liberate their country. But it turned out a lot of the people there didn't want us there. They would have rathered us not do that. So sometimes things can backfire. All right, so what are the 4 options? If you have them, if you have the document, you might want to open it up and read along. I'm going to kind of read through these. So the first one says, option 1, lead the world to freedom. The United States was founded on the notion that individuals are entitled to liberty and the right to choose their government. These are the human rights that every human being is entitled to. Our ideas about human rights continue to inspire oppressed peoples around the world who desperately seek freedom from tyranny. As the world's superpower, we have both the opportunity and the responsibility to stand up for human rights of liberty and democracy in every corner of the earth. Okay, so far this option, like, human rights are a big deal. We're the most powerful country. We need to be doing everything we can to help human rights spread around the world. Okay, I'll continue. We must be prepared to hold the world's perpetrators of gross human rights violations accountable for their actions. That means, like, dictators in other countries who are committing genocides, we need to be ready to stop the genocide. A powerful, determined United States leading the charge is the only hope of spreading liberty throughout the world. Okay, so that's option 1. Notice it didn't say, like, work with partners. It was just about us being the superpower leading the way. Number 2 says work with the international community. So these guys are going to think human rights is important, but don't do it alone. Do it with other countries. A strong and unified global commitment to promoting and protecting human rights is our best hope for improving the well-being of individuals and maintaining peace and security across the globe. The time has come for the United States to take a fresh approach to rights. We can begin by embracing a wider understanding of human rights, including economic, social, and cultural rights. Nothing sends a stronger message than a unified international commitment to human rights. The UN has legitimacy and capacity to develop and maintain a long-term effort to promote human rights. We must increase our commitment to the UN. So we need to work with the UN and other countries even more than we are today, and take a leadership role to strengthen and support its effectiveness in promoting human rights. We need to stand together with the international community against gross violations of human rights whenever and wherever they surface, and bring perpetrators to justice. Okay, so options 1 and 2 are both saying human rights are super important. It's just a difference of should we be doing it on our own, option 1, or option 2, we do it with the international community and the United Nations. Okay, option 3, this is the option that's not big on human rights. Human rights should not be a priority. Here's what it says. Act only when U.S. interests are directly threatened. We should not be swept up in the international human rights frenzy that is dominating world politics. Human rights are nothing more than a distraction. By focusing on the international community's ideas of human rights, we risk losing sight of what is truly important for our country: a strong economy, national security, and protecting our own constitutional freedoms and way of life. Okay, so that's the priority for the people in number 3. A strong economy, our own national security, and protecting our own constitutional freedoms. Our top priority should be to make our country stronger and safer, not to seek to change the world. We can speak out against human rights abuses, but unless abuses directly threaten our security, risking U.S. lives and spending huge sums of money is not sensible. We must always approach global human rights problems by placing the interest of our country first. Okay, finally, option 4. These guys are going to say human rights are important, but let's not go fix the rest of the world. We have some of our own problems. We should try to fix our own problems at home. Here's what it says. The only place we can truly improve human rights is on our own soil. Throughout our country, citizens are demanding change, calling for better education, access to health care, and improved working conditions. These economic, social, and cultural rights are human rights that every U.S. citizen deserves. There are other good reasons to focus on human rights at home. The U.S. quest to promote human rights abroad has too often led us into costly foreign policy failures. So like going to war in Iraq, people would say that cost hundreds of billions of dollars and it was a failure. We shouldn't have done it. We should speak out against violations of human rights around the world, but just as we would never accept another country telling us how to govern ourselves, we must refrain from the temptation to impose any single system on other countries. So let us begin at home and make human rights our top domestic priority. We can lead by example, ensuring that every U.S. citizen enjoys a life of dignity, freedom, and equality. So these guys think human rights are important, but we shouldn't be intervening in other countries and telling them what to do. We should just focus at home. Okay, those are the options. I look forward to hearing from you about which option you think is best, or maybe some combination, or maybe you come up with your own 5th option. Email me if you have any questions.